but you want... No, sorry for being... I'm just going to be a bit cheeky, all right? All right? But what I'm saying is, if you're dressed well and you're sitting in Harley Street, some guy's going to come up to you and say, "G'day, mate, how you going?" You know? And if they're here from Sydney, well, look out. But what I'm saying is, you've got to make sure that you're sitting on the right corner. You see what I mean? That's all. So what I'm saying is, there are... All the things you guys have said so far are very important, but there's a couple of other things. You've got to know where to go, all right? Or you've got to ask the information of where to go. Does that make sense? So you girls are really good because you've said, you know, you dress well, you're polite, you've got to be proactive, you know, and stuff like that. But if you can be proactive, you've got to know where to be proactive. Because you could be, like I said, you could be in Harley Street or somewhere in Rundle Wall, being proactive, nobody's going to give you a job. So you've got to start to think of where would I be proactive. Now let me ask you again, because I want you to tell me. So I've got to know what you don't know, so I know what to tell you. Does that make sense? See, and this is what I call experiential learning. So in other words, there's no use me telling you all the stuff, because then I become a lecturer. And I don't want to do that. What I want to do, I want to teach you to do it yourselves. See, Jennifer is a good example. And the two boys here are a really good example. Because on Friday afternoon, I set them a task. And today, we can see the results. Just over the weekend, they got this number of people together. That's really good. See, I said to Jennifer, here's 3 numbers, here's 3 people to ring up. She rang up those 3 people. She got no reply. Guess what I said to her? Does anybody know what I said to her? Sorry? Yeah, what else?
Go in person.
Sorry?
Go there in person.
Yes, I did say that too. There's 2 things I said. What else did I say?
Don't mention your name or...
That's the other most important thing. That was the other most important thing. 3 things I said. Make the call, go there in person, but always the number 1 thing I said, mention my name. But not because I'm important, no, it's not that. It's just that the people I recommended it to were people that know me. You see, that's what networking is. You know what? It doesn't matter how much stuff you know. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter what grades you've got. Right? Khan said to me a little while ago, I was talking to him, right? And he said that there are so many highly qualified people in Pakistan that you can't get a job, even if your qualifications are up to here. Does that make sense? They're too qualified. Are you that qualified? Are you going to be up there? Maybe. Are you going to be up there? Maybe. Are you going to be up there? Maybe. But guess what? There's 100,000 of them. They're up that high. So in other words, you're not going to get a job just because you've got A-grade qualifications. A few years ago, here in Adelaide, one of my nephews didn't even pass high school very well. And yet, had a pocket full of money, went up to Bond University, and he finally qualified as a lawyer. He got out. My other nephew here, just this last year, in December, got 96 or whatever it was on his study pass, whatever it is, you know, I know nothing about it, but it was 96, you know, 1,000 points or whatever it was. But guess what? He didn't get into university. He can't do medicine this year because they've got so many people they can take in, and out of that number of people, they've got this many that got more qualifications than him. So he missed out by that much. Does that make sense? When you go for your job, doesn't matter what sort of job you go for, thanks Tasha, doesn't matter what sort of job you go for, you will find there will be always people who have slightly better qualifications than you. How does that make you feel? What a waste of time! Right, but guess what? Some of you people, right, some of you people will get a job simply because you know somebody. Right, have you heard that expression? It doesn't matter what you know, it's who you know. Well, that used to be important. But you know what's important today? It's not what you know or who you know, it's who knows you. Have you ever heard that before? That's the one that's important. It's who knows you. But more importantly, it's not who knows you, right? But it's who knows what you do. Do you understand that? Seriously, it's really important because, look, I've been doing this sort of work for a long, long time, more than 30 years. You can see the photograph. One photograph there I've kept when I was like, I don't know, 21. all right, so I was 31. I don't know, but what I'm saying was that, you know, I've just put, oh, I didn't even put it up there, I think Kelvin did. Anyway, but the reason is, that photograph stayed up there. Well, it looks good, it looks young. But what I'm saying is, I've been doing this sort of work for a long time. I get all my work comes from referrals. You know, you try and find Peter Salerno on the web page, and all you'll find was somebody in America that's a crook and somebody else somewhere else. And honestly, I don't even have a web page anymore. Now, today, you guys are all, you know, into technology and all that sort of stuff. You know that in business you can't survive if you don't have a web page? You know in business you can't survive unless you have all that stuff and people can Google you and find you and all the rest of it? Well, I'm not meaning to brag. All I'm saying is not to impress you, right, but to impress upon you how important it is for you to get out there and let people know you and meet as many people as you can. That is what they call networking, right? Now, has anybody here yet done any networking? Yes or no? Only these two. Okay. You should have put your hand up. I'm surprised you haven't. And Jennifer, why was your hand up? See, you're not listening. Okay, let me ask the question again. Has anybody here done any networking yet? Well, let me tell you something. Every one of you have. Every one of you have, but you haven't even known you've done it. See, you've all done networking. Did you go up to the student next to you and say hello? Did you say that to somebody? Not just the people you're sitting with now, but did you ever say hello to somebody else? Did you say hello to one of the lecturers? I don't talk to lecturers either. Okay, did you say hello to one of your lecturers? Do you think one or two or three of your lecturers know who you are? Do you think that any one of them would recognise you if they saw you in High Street? None of you should be there. But let's say in Rundle Mall. Okay? If you saw your lecturer in Rundle Mall, would you go up and say hello?
Yes.
Would you? Well, that's networking. That is networking, see? So all of you are doing it, but you don't even know that you're doing it. Now let me ask you this one question. If you knew that you were doing it, how much better do you think you could do it? Come on guys, talk to me. How much better do you think you could do it? A lot better. Is that right? So in actual fact, you guys, every one of you, are networking all the time. But you don't realise that you're networking. See, when you talk, sorry, what's your name? Maureen. That's a lovely name. Okay, so Maureen, I've just met Maureen. What do you do, Maureen? Yeah, okay. So what are you studying? Sorry? Accounting. Okay. And what is it you're studying?
Commerce and high finance.
Commerce and high finance.
Applied.
Applied finance. I thought she said high finance. Just checking. Now, where are you from?
One of the things grew up in Queensland, living in SA for that months.
Okay, so she's got such a funny accent. It's sort of almost an American accent. It is almost American accent. I picked that from the Philippines, but I wondered. So, and then she's got this little twang in her voice, which is definitely Eastern States. But, now, where are you from?
Well, my parents moved to Malawi while I was living.
Okay, Because you've got a very strong English accent. That's what I thought. She's definitely not Asian. No, see, what I'm doing here, see, I've networked with a lot of people, and I'm lucky because my job and my hobby is travelling. I love travelling. So what I've done, I've travelled the world lots of times, and everywhere I go, and I'm very good with, like, I've picked up on their accents, and I can pick up, you know, I can also pick up whether you're a Chinese from Malaysia or you're Chinese from China. You know, and I'm not meaning to brag about it, but it's just that I can tell the difference in the way they speak. You know, and the Chinese from Singapore, well, gee, they'd all be going, yeah! So you guys are still from Malaysia, you're like this. But that's all right, most of you are Chinese. The Indians over here, they're laughing their heads off. She's from Malaysia as well. The Pakistani is not sure what to say. Now, with all due respect, so jokes aside, the fact that he's here by himself is a bit worried, see? But see, look, let me say this. Whatever you do, if you're not having fun, stop it. All right? And whatever you do, if you're enjoying it, do more of it. Does that make sense? Because too many people get to middle age and go, oh. They find that they have not enjoyed what they're doing. And even a lot of young students today get to a stage where they've finished and they graduated, and then all of a sudden they realise that the only reason why they studied is because their parents have told them to study, and they've been guided into it, but it's not what they want to do themselves. And you might know people like that. You may even feel a little bit like that yourselves. Sometimes people change. You know, I've known people who've qualified as a lawyer and then 3 years later have given up law and started doing medicine. And I've seen people who've done medicine and given up medicine and tried doing something else. You know, so my job always is to try and help people to enjoy what they're doing. That's why you see the book up here. It's called Laugh With Me. Right? Laugh With Me. The whole reason why I wrote that book was to help people to make sure they have more fun in their lives. Right? That's the number one most important thing. Because I think if you're enjoying what you're doing, you're going to make a lot of money from it and you can have a lot of fun with it. And if you're enjoying what you're doing, people will be attracted to you because they say, I like this girl, I like this girl, I like this guy, I want this guy to work with me. Alright? And how many people do you know that when they walk in the room, the lights go dim? How many people do you know that when they walk out of the room gets brighter? Now, which one would you rather be? You know, it's not a trick question. It's not a trick question. Which one would you rather be? Do you rather brighten up the room by walking into it, or do you want to dull the room by walking into it? Brighten. Thank you. I'm in the right class then. I'm talking to the right people. Now, do you understand anything different about networking now than what you did when you first walked in? You don't. That means you haven't been listening. Let me say it all over again. What happens is you are networking all the time. Right? But you know the best way to network? Have you ever heard that expression, 3 degrees of separation? Or 6 degrees of separation? When I was your age, it used to be 6 degrees of separation. That means between me and anyone that I wanted to meet, there were 6 people that knew that person. So what would happen is if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people